Masha'Allah ibn Athari was an 8th-century Persian Jewish astrologer and astronomer from the city of Basra who became the leading astrologer of the late 8th century. According to Ibn al-Nadim in his Fihrist, Mashallah was a man of distinction and during his period the leading person for the science of judgments of the stars. He served as a court astrologer for the Abbasid caliphate, and wrote a number of works on astrology in Arabic, some of which have only survived in Latin translations. Science historian Donald Hill writes that Mashallah was originally from Khorasan. The Arabic phrase Masha'Allah indicates acceptance of what God has ordained in terms of good or ill fortune that may befall a believer. Ibn al-Nadim said Mashallah's name was Misha, meaning Yethro. Latin translators also called him Masha'Allah. The crater Mesla on the Moon is named after him. Life and works. As a young man he participated in the founding of Baghdad for Caliph al-Mansur in 762 by working with a group of astrologers led by Nawbakht the Persian to pick an electional horoscope for the founding of the city. He wrote over 20 works on predominantly astrology, which became authoritative in later centuries, at first in the Middle East, and then in the West when horoscopic astrology was transmitted back to Europe beginning in the 12th century. His writings include both what would be recognized as traditional Hori astrology and an earlier type of astrology which casts consultation charts to divine the client's intention. It is also known that his work was heavily influenced by Hermes Trismegistus and Dorotheus. Only one of his writings is still extant in its original Arabic, but there are many medieval Latin, Byzantine, Greek and Hebrew translations. His treatise De Mursibus is the oldest extant scientific work in Arabic. One of his most popular works in the Middle Ages was a cosmological treatise which provides a comprehensive account of the whole cosmos along Aristotelian lines. In it, Mashallah covers many topics that were important in early cosmology and strays away from traditional cosmology by postulating a 10-orb universe. Mashallah had intended for his account to be aimed at laymen and therefore included diagrams with text to facilitate comprehension of his main ideas. The treatise was printed in 2 manuscript versions, a short version of 27 chapters known as De Scientia Motus Orbis and an expanded version of 40 chapters known as De Elementis Orbibus. The shorter version was translated by Gerardo Cremonese. Both were printed in Nuremberg and in 1504 and 1549, respectively. This work is commonly referred to as De Orbi for short. Mashallah wrote the first treatise on the astrolabe in Arabic. It was later translated into Latin as De Astrolabii Compositione Utilitate and included in Gregory Isch's Margarita Philosophica. Its contents primarily deal with the construction and usage of an astrolabe, his own conjunctions, religions, and people, discusses the astrology of important world events and the role Jupiter-Saturn conjunctions have in the timing. This treatise does not survive intact and is preserved only in quotations by the Christian astrologer Ibn Habinta. Other notable works are his Liber Messahali di Revoltione Liber Anorum Mundi, a work on revolutions, and a Rebus Eclipsia made a conjunctionibus planetarum in Revolutionibus Annorum Mundi, a work on eclipses. His work on nativities, with the Arabic title Kitab al-Mawalid, has been partially translated into English from a Latin translation of the Arabic by James H. Holden. Other astronomical and astrological writings are quoted by Suter and Steinschneider. An Irish astronomical tract also exists based in part on a medieval Latin version. Edited with preface, translation, and glossary by Fala Power. The notable 12th century scholar and astrologer Abraham ibn Ezra translated two of Masha'Allah's astrological treatises into Hebrew, Shalat and Adrat. 11 of Masha'Allah's astrological treatises were translated out of Latin into English in 2008 and are available in the works of Zal and Masha'Allah by Benjamin N. Dykes. On Reception is also available in an English translation by Robert Hand from the Latin edition by Joachim Heller of Nuremberg in 1549. Philosophy. Masha'Allah postulated a 10-orb universe rather than the 8-orb model offered by Aristotle and the 9-orb model that was popular in his time. In all, Masha'Allah's planetary model assigns the universe 26 orbs, which account for the relative positioning and motion of the 7 planets. Of the 10 orbs, the first 7 contain the planets and the 8th contain the fixed stars. The 9th and 10th orbs were named by Masha'Allah the Orb of Signs and the Great Orb, respectively. Both of these orbs are starless and move with the diurnal motion, but the 10th orb moves in the plane of the celestial equator while the 9th orb moves around poles that are inclined 24 degrees with respect to the poles of the 10th orb. The 9th is also divided into 12 parts which are named after the zodiacal constellations that can be seen beneath them in the 8th orb. The 8th and 9th orbs move around the same poles, but with different motion. The 9th orb moves with daily motion, so that the 12 signs are static with respect to the equinoxes. The 8th orb of the fixed stars moves 1 degree in 100 years, so that the 12 zodiacal constellations are mobile with respect to the equinoxes. The 8th and 9th orbs moving around the same poles also guarantees that the 12 stationary signs and the 12 mobile zodiacal constellations overlap. By describing the universe in such a manner, Masha'Allah was attempting to demonstrate the natural reality of the 12 signs by stressing that the stars are located with respect to the signs and that fundamental natural phenomena, such as the beginning of the seasons, changes of weather, and the passage of the months, take place in the sublunar domain when the sun enters the signs of the 9th orb. Masha'Allah was an advocate of the idea that the conjunctions of Saturn and Jupiter dictate the timing of important events on Earth. These conjunctions, which occur about every 20 years, take place in the same triplicity for about 200 years, and special significance is attached to a shift to another triplicity. Bibliography. De cogitation. Epistola de rebus eclipsium a conjunctionibus planetarum, distinct from de magnus conjunctionibus by Abu Mazhar al-Borki. Latin translation. John of Sevilla Hispalenus Aliamensis. De revolutionibus annorum mundi. De significationibus planetarum in nativitate. Liber Receptione. Works of Zal and Masha'Allah trans. Benjamin Dykes, Kazimi Press, Golden Valley, MN, 2008. Masha'Allah on Reception, trans. Robert Hand, Arhat Publications, Preston, VA, 1998.